And I just got I got a new down comforter. I got the lightweight version. I get too hot, folks. And I got of course, the hyperallergenic one. I didn't get the full,
there it is.
Full down one. I got what are you gonna do? But I love it. It's great. Exactly. And I don't have that problem anymore. Brooklyn is a direct-to-consumer bedding company, meaning they just work directly with manufacturers and then directly with customers. There's no middleman. It's just a great product and service.
You guys all tell Sam Cedar right now he should fucking check out my pain oil. You guys should super chat him.
That makes you feel like you never left bed. You know, like Sunday, like T-shirts, that type of thing. Does that make sense, everybody? On a Sunday, you wake up, you get those.
I'm so stressed out right now.
They look good. I think I'm going for one of those. You get all luxury products without the luxury markup. If you like softness, comfort, essentials to help you relax, Brooklinen has it all. Brooklinen.com. Perfect place to hit refresh on the new year. Go on. Make yourself comfortable. Brooklinen is so confident in their product that all their sheets, all their comforters, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. You can get 10% off your first order and free shipping on all the new sheets. Use the promo code majority only at brooklinen.com. That's Brooklinen, BROOKLINEN.com. Enter the code majority. Brooklinen, everything you need to live your most comfortable life. Also sponsoring the program today, Capterra. You need to find software, but you have other things to do, like every other human being in the world. Things you'd probably rather be doing. Cut to the chase with Capterra. It's a website that millions of people use monthly to find software for their team or their business. It is Capterra is completely free. It's an online resource. They simplify your software search in just a few steps. First, you use their free resources and guides to pinpoint the problem and identify the software features you need.
I know.
Then you can filter options to find the right software for your industry. There are more than 700 specific categories of software. Then you can compare them side by side, save your favorites to a short list. They have free in-depth software guides and tools, plus over 1 million reviews from actual users. Capterra gives you access to everything you need to know before you buy. You can spend less time trying to find software and more time doing what you do best. Not only do I enjoy just browsing through Capterra just to find out all the different businesses that exist, I've been using this as a way to come up with ideas for features for our app. I mean, I don't think that's what this is meant for, but I'm looking through it and then I see stuff like, I don't know. I mean, polling. They have online polling stuff. They have legal research software. They have library automation software, license management software, live streaming.
Thank you, Steve
software.
Running. Steve Running. Look at that.
Origination software. If we want to get into the financial, we want to financialize the majority report. There's tons of this stuff. Visit capterra.com/majority for free today to find the software tools you need for your business. You go there even if you don't think you need it, because you may be surprised to find out what they have. And they're not selling you anything. They're just giving you opportunity to look at real reviews of these softwares. Capterra.com/majority. Capterra, that's CAPTERRA.com/majority.
Read my fucking super chat. That's why you're not getting them, because you're not reading them. If you would read the super chat, more people would buy them. And you'd make a lot of money, Sam.
A little bit frugal, as they say.
Come on.
Well, you know that Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo code.
God, I can't believe he's doing these ads. He sounds so stupid.
No more sitting Mila down, telling her she's got to search for coupon codes every time she wants to buy anything from any one of these nuts.
Cat, thank you for promoting Trending Ad Stabbers.
And look, saving with Honey feels even better than great. Feels like boarding a plane and realizing you have an entire row to yourself. It's a freebie. It's not just you get a discount, but it's a free discount. You don't have to look for it. It's just all of a sudden it shows up. Honey has found over 18 million members, over $2 billion in savings. That's a lot of money, unless, of course, you're Michael Bloomberg. Plus, Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, including Macy's, Target, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. They're adding more stores every day. You know users love Honey since it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. When I go,
Ads,
you
man.
know, Mila's always doing some like online shopping or browsing. That is, she's 14. That's what she does. And it used to be I would make her go and Google for a coupon code because I'm like, there's always a coupon code. And now they've shut those down. It makes it much harder. Honey, boom.
It's true. They've shut them down. They've shut down those coupons.
Using Honey feels pretty great.
I use Honey.
A little daily victory. Plus, it's free to use and installs in just a few seconds. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com.
It is a pain in the ass sometimes.
That's joinhoney.com.
Because it takes a long time for it to try each code.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Dr. Rob Davidson. We saw a video of him questioning Mike Pence on the Medicaid cuts that are coming, that are being proposed and executed by the Trump administration that we're going to see in, I think, just exclusively Republican states, knock on wood. And we will talk about those and more. Dr. Rob Davidson, the executive director of the Committee to Protect Medicare in the ACA. We'll be right back.
Why do they take breaks, too? What do you mean we'll be right back? Fuck all that shit. I don't understand that about this show. Jimmy Dore doesn't need to do that shit. Fuck it, let's do it live. You got fucking 5 people in there and you have to go to a black screen, or blank screen, I should say. Put it on somebody else. Let somebody else talk right now. Dare I say, put it on Jamie and let her speak? I'm sure she's got plenty to fucking blah, blah, blah about. You know, and you know, fucking Michael Brooks always has some bullshit to fucking throw out there. But no, you'd rather make 6,000 people sit there and stare at a goddamn screen, a splash screen. 6,000 people. Dude, I don't even do that to my fucking 30 people. Just, oh, I'm just going to put it on a blank screen and I'm just going to fucking walk away. Bye. Take a break. See y'all. I do 3-hour shows, man. This is bullshit. God damn. This is the second time he's done some bullshit. This is so, hey, Lewis, this is so disrespectful to your audience to do this. So disrespectful. 5,900 people. Oh, he's back. Great.
We are back. Sam Cedar on the Majority Report.
Why did you fucking leave?
Pleasure to welcome to the program.
Why did you fucking leave?
Dr. Rob Davidson. He is
dumbass.
A physician in West Michigan.
God.
And he is the executive director of the Committee to Protect Medicare. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
So just to place you, so that, and I think you know this, but so that folks know how we found you, it was from this video. You were in a diner eating, and Mike Pence walks in. Let's just play a quick clip of this.
Oh yeah, I saw this. This is actually pretty good.
Working with one of the poorest counties in Michigan, and my patients have had that experience with Medicaid. So how is that going to affect my patients? I haven't heard about that. Medicaid, yeah.
Okay. I think people remember we played this the other day. So now, do you do this often when you run into vice presidents?
Yeah, every time I run into a vice president, I have questions about healthcare. So yes, 100% of the time.
This has happened once.
That was pretty stunning. I mean, I guess we'll circle back around because I want to get a sense of your experience of that conversation. But
I'll be right back. I'm
tell
gonna get
folks
the ice.
what has happened in terms of Medicaid in particular. I guess let's start the way you did. What are the proposed cuts to Medicare that the Trump administration has been talking about?
I mean, the proposed cuts to Medicare, I think it started with their rollout of increased privatization of Medicare, with increasing Medicare Advantage plans. That was, I think, October last year in the lakes in Florida. Trump, reported in Vanity Fair that he said it would be a fun second-term project to cut Medicare. And then I think a couple weeks ago now in Davos, Switzerland, he was talking on CNBC, and he said, yes, in fact, that would be on the table, cutting Medicare and Social Security, and he said that would be the easiest thing to do. Very strange choice of words. So that's kind of the Medicare piece, and that's what I started with. That's why I was in Des Moines that day with the Committee to Protect Medicare, talking about these possible Medicare cuts with doctors from Iowa that joined me for a press conference.
Thank you, Kathy.
One member of the press showed up for that press conference. Now, a little bit more of the press is listening to the alarm that we're calling out at my committee about these proposed cuts. And then, because of the news of the day, last Thursday was the day this encounter occurred, and that was the day that Seema Verma, the CMS administrator for Trump, rolled out this block grant waiver proposal that, everyone I can see that is talking about this in an honest way tells us this will in fact cut folks from Medicaid.
Okay, and so tell us, and then CMS is the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. When they roll out this proposal, are they actually just basically introducing? They're basically announcing that you as a state can apply for a waiver. Is that right?
Right. Apply for a waiver. Currently, Medicaid is funded by the federal government on a kind of a per person, per need basis. So, for instance, when there's a recession and more people lose jobs and more people qualify for Medicaid, the federal share of spending on health care for those folks will go up because, of course, they need that. People with diabetes, if they have a job or they lose their job through no fault of their own, still have diabetes, they still need $300 a month insulin. So with the block grant, states could say, listen, why don't you just give us a lump sum of money and then let us, and the word he used was innovate. Let us innovate and figure out how to cover everyone. But, if the needs go up in our state, we still get that pot of money that you're giving us. It doesn't change. And yet our needs go up, so more people lose out. The other thing they can do is choose to cut certain services. They can, cut certain drugs that are currently covered for prescription drug benefit under Medicaid. So, it is a cut. There's no way around it, and there's no way that Pence didn't understand that.
Right.
Used to be his.
He was
Medicaid
doing word salad.
In the state of Indiana.
I hate Mike Pence so much. I hate him just as much as Donald Trump.
Conservative.
He's so creepy.
For ages, decades.
30 years they've been trying.
Cat, back Bernie now, yes.
And so there's like you say, there's multiple problems that come with the block granting.
Trinity Pain Oil, Cat, yes, thank you.
As that economic stabilizer. In other words, it doesn't basically expand as the need gets greater in crises. It also does not increase along with the cost of medicine.
Thank you, Kat.
And like you say, the states can get sort of clever because the federal government has basically said, this is the difference between just sort of,
No law regarding cannabis, Robin. Thank you.
To my kid and say, do whatever you want with it,
Robin.
as opposed to making sure that she spends it on, not on junk food or whatever it is.
Right.
And she can then go out and basically, spend $5 on. I don't want to kid this metaphor too much, but the idea is that they can use this money in other ways that really don't have anything to do with providing health insurance for people.
Right, and my governor is Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who gave so I thought an amazing response to the State of the Union last night, and I was there, and we talked beforehand, and she helped us usher in expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act when she was the minority leader of the state Senate here in Michigan, and got a Republican governor to expand Medicaid. And we've had, nearly 750,000 folks in Michigan benefit from that. Their study, I think, Kaiser Family reported it recently, specifically on Michigan, showing the economic benefit of expanded Medicaid. The fear was that the federal government was going to give them 100% in the first year and then scale it back to, I think, 90% eventually by next year. And the reality is, even though the federal share has scaled back because people are healthier, because they can afford treating their chronic illnesses, they can work more, the actual tax base has increased. I think 30,000 jobs in Michigan created directly as a result of expanded Medicaid. So, this is, it just doesn't make sense to me that they try, and I think that's why he dodged the question and tried to revert back to things he did, and then eventually just said agree to disagree, because he knows what it is. They all know what it is, and they know if they say what it is, people won't like it. You know, it's an election year. They're trying to get reelected, so they just say whatever they want. They lie at will. And the State of the Union was, full of healthcare lies again about every other aspect of healthcare, and I think they just say what they want and they get away with it. He just wasn't expecting to meet up with a guy in a diner who, again, I don't know this issue like a policy wonk. I mean, I have a biology degree and a medical degree, and I work clinically as a doc, but I read, and I try to learn as much as I can. And so, with my limited understanding of these policies, he wasn't ready for that. No one briefed him, no one gave him talking points, and I think that's what we saw unfold.
Yeah, he did look like a deer in the headlights, and we did try and dance around it quite a bit. You zeroed in on him pretty quickly, I think, as he tried to sort of pretend like he didn't.
Bottom of the hour, no law regarding cannabis. Susan Baker in the house.
Where you said,
David C. Baker Jr.
I don't think we're going to do cuts in Medicare. And so give us, so firsthand the implications of this expanded Medicaid, and I want to get into that as just your experience as an emergency doctor, but I also get the sense. You're on this. You're executive director of this committee. You're in Iowa, so you're aware at least of some of the broader politics involved in this. Where would you anticipate what states, or at least if not specific ones, then the profile of the states that are going to be applying for this waiver? presumably the 13 states, I think it is now, did not expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act, I would imagine would be prime targets or prime applicants to get this waiver, because they're going to continue. If they weren't going to expand Medicaid, they certainly are interested in dismantling it as much as they can.
Hell yeah. David C. Baker Jr. Hell yeah.
And I think, anywhere that
I love seeing you guys typing inside Sam Cedars. This is what's up, man. You guys are promoting like crazy.
It's an executive decision at the state level, or if it requires, something passing through their house. So we have enough, majority Republican state legislatures plus governorships in this country that, I think that would be the profile, certainly, because those would be the places where, folks are more likely to be in charge that share Vice President Pence's views on Medicaid in general, and whether or not we should be helping out
Billy Big Bricks
people when it comes to healthcare.
Who's Billy Big Bricks? That was funny.
Why should we in Michigan have a different set of, the whole healthcare system is so patchwork and hodgepodge.
As long as you type in Cheney has dabbers, it makes a big red highlight on there.
Anyways,
on my screen.
Any different. Let's let certain states do one thing and others do
Robin, no law regarding cannabis. God, you guys make me want to smoke. I'm so proud of y'all right now. Thank you guys.
Well, there's so much in our society today that's determined that way.
Dude, when I look at all these oils that are going out, man, oh my God.
That get tossed in the air.
It's crazy. I was working my ass off last night getting those out. I'm going to have to crank out a whole bunch more, a whole other case.
What the vote is it's under the CRA, which has been used in the past. It's the Congressional Review Act. It's been used in the past to undo executive actions that have been done within a certain time frame. And the Republicans did this with a bunch of executive actions by Obama. And then once they do that, once they pass that, to reinstitute any type of rule like that, Congress has to authorize it with a 2/3 vote. So this is like this is a sledgehammer, as it were, and they're gonna vote on this in the House, and they will probably pass it, which would not allow the president to block grant. But then it goes to the Senate, and the Republicans are sure to shoot it down. How do you think this plays
Billy,
as
thank you.
An issue in the fall when you have a half dozen or so Republican senators running sort of purplish states on their refusal, their essential voting to allow for cuts in Medicaid?
Right, and I'm kind of anxious to see what folks like Collins. She's the only one in the purple state that I think might go along with this. I think Tillis and McSally and who is it? Gardner, I think, is already toast. Maybe Joni Ernst. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think there's at least. I mean, the thing is, have them go on record. I mean, that's all. I think that's all. That's what we're trying to do as a committee. I mean, what we're rolling out over the next several months is an accountability campaign, and that's really all it is. Like, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you to vote for, Bernie or Biden or Buttigieg or any of them. I'm not going to tell you to vote for against Donald Trump. I just want you to know what exactly they're doing. That is the point of what we're doing. We're saying, hey, doctors, you know what's going on at the bedside. Let's tell people what's going on. So at least this vote, forcing a vote in the Senate, people will know what's going on. So when any of these Republican senators have to go out and talk to their constituents, it'll be front and center that this person voted to allow
Trendy has Devers for president.
Healthcare away from people, 70 million people in this country.
You guys are funny.
So I say, bravo if that's a
yeah, whatever. You don't read super chats. Fuck you, John Iadarola.
Of Congress, but that CRA is a tool they have that will force McConnell, because the HR 3 named after Elijah Cummings for prescription drug prices, that is dead in the Senate, even though that was a bipartisan bill passed in the House to keep down prescription drug prices. So at least for once, they can make Mitch McConnell take it up and make people go on record.
That's right. It's a privileged motion when it gets to the Senate. So the minority, in rare instances, the minority in the Senate can actually force a vote, and this is one of those instances. So tell us, just from your experience as an emergency doctor, what difference it made to expand Medicaid in Michigan. And we should just tell people that the ACA expanded Medicaid if states took it, because the Supreme Court said it can't be forced on people to expand this federal program in a very weird decision.
Right.
It went from 100% of poverty to the 138% of poverty became eligible for expanded Medicaid. What did you see as a doctor in the wake of that expansion?
I mean, I can, it's hard to say on a person-for-person basis, because you don't really have a discussion with someone. I don't ask them what they have unless they tell me, hey, I'm worried about costs. I have a high deductible.
Right on,
David. Figure this out. So it's not a front and center discussion. Hey, you have Medicaid. Did you not have Medicaid? And how does that affect your life?
Right.
We know from a population basis, A, in the state, and B, in my county, and in the population we serve at my hospital, that more people had insurance than had it before. So I can just tell you stories of patients who I would see.
Empty Trump podiums.
Come in with a blood pressure of 200 over 100. That's high. And not suffering from that at all. They may be there with an ankle sprain, and we check their vitals and we say, hey, you got high blood pressure. Maybe we should put you on something. Okay, we need you to follow up with somebody. Here, why don't you try to go see this person? Well, they don't have any insurance, so they can't go see that person. They get a month or two worth of blood pressure meds. You see them again a few years later, and their blood pressure is 200 over 100, and they're still doing okay. But the problem is that happens enough. 20 years from now, they're the ones that have strokes and kidney failure and heart attacks. And so for those folks, it's critical. People with diabetes, people with hypertension, maybe less so the ER population and the ER visits, because eventually most people will come in with chest pain or shortness of breath or stroke symptoms, whether or not
this guy talks a lot.
Bankruptcy later.
Jesus fuck.
Chronic conditions, and I think diabetes is such a key one because of the cost of insulin, that when they couldn't afford it previously,
talk, little talky guy.
Diabetes is a silent disease. It's a silent killer that the major ramifications happen, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So if you're 40 with diabetes and you feel okay, it's not on the top of your list. You're just trying to go work and pay your bills. Those folks who then qualified,
blah, blah, blah.
Changing event. Some kind of coverage. Coverage under Medicaid is a little skinnier than coverage under other plans, and then that's, whether that's okay or not is a whole different discussion.
Oh, my solar guys are here.
Coverage. It is the ability to see a doctor, the ability to get insulin, to treat the chronic disease, keep them out of the ER and the ICU, save money, they work more. It's crazy to me that the mantra of people like Mike Pence, Paul Ryan, pull yourself up from your bootstraps, the kind of Atlas shrug carrying crowd, that say pull yourself up from your bootstraps, and they say, but we don't want to help you actually do that. The long-term thinking of investing in someone's healthcare now, so 20 years from now they're still productive members of society, just doesn't exist. Their lives exist on 2, 4, and 6 year elections. And it really hurts the ability of folks like me, my wife's a family practice doctor, and folks like her to do our jobs because these guys are thinking about the next election and who's giving them contributions to get reelected.
It's fascinating that in the way you put it in terms of the implications 20 years down the road, because we've seen in the wake of the expansion of Medicaid, varying different reports that give sort of a mixed outlook, if you will, as to the implications of it. But if I hear you correctly, 20 years down the road, we should see an improvement in the overall health outcomes or health status of that population of people who were living for at least some time between 100% and 138% of poverty or so.
Yeah, and again, in the short term, we have seen the economic benefit to a state like Michigan, when 30,000 jobs created, that they can attribute to expansion. More people have insurance. They need to see folks. They have greater need for healthcare, so there's more healthcare out there to be had, for consumers to have. And then again, those people are missing less days of work. They're making more. They're contributing more, and that helps the overall tax base of the state as well. So, it seems like a no-brainer. Again, all we can do is point out the truth of it and what our committee is doing. Just to get a little plug, committee2protect.org if people want to learn more about it. But what the committee is doing is taking doctors and say, hey, you've been doing this at the bedside forever. Why don't you step out and speak out and tell people? And, I see a lot of doctors commented on the Twitter video, and we're trying to get through those replies saying, hey, good job, way to go, way to represent. It's like, hey, join us,
Right.
It isn't that hard. It rarely involves talking to the vice president. It mostly involves, writing an op-ed or doing a video or, some other form of action where you can advocate for your patients. So hopefully that helps.
What is your perspective on Medicare for All? And I'm curious as to what your sense is as to your fellow doctors' perspective on that.
Yeah, there's actually polling now. Kaiser Family Foundation, I think it's 51% of physicians now support a type of plan like Medicare for All. Listen, I'm a supporter. I know that if we had no system in place in this country, then Medicare for All makes 100% sense. It's the only system that does make sense. We pay, and you know all the stats, and I'm sure that people talk about it. We pay twice as much per person for healthcare as most other countries. We have lower life expectancy. We have higher infant mortality, and we have roughly 2/3 of bankruptcies attributable to medical debt. So that wouldn't be there, and we spend less overall, and we get better outcomes. Now, I'm a realist, and I understand the system we have. And so politically, I think it's tough. I think if a Medicare for All candidate wins the nomination and wins the presidency, no matter how much they want to say, well, if we just work really hard and organize well, we could get this through right now. Like, you still need 60 votes in the Senate for this. So I don't think it's going to pass on a 51-vote budget resolution.
Thank you, Robin.
Sheer increase in spending.
Thank you, David.
So I am a supporter 100%. However, anything someone can do to increase the ability for my patients to afford health care, I say bring it on. My senator in Michigan has proposed a Medicare over 55 buy-in. Absolutely. Adam Schatz in Hawaii has proposed a Medicaid buy-in program. Yes, do that. All of these programs, public option, absolutely. I think eventually things like public option and all will roll into people all kind of saying, hey, this is a better option. I'm going to choose that. I know the Center for American Progress put out a Medicare, I believe, Medicare Extra plan, which was sort of a buy-in option for employers and employees into the Medicare system. And then every new child gets rolled into Medicare. So 65 years from now, it's Medicare for All, just by virtue of time.
Instead of what's up, doc, shut up, doc.
A little long, but again, anything that helps expand healthcare, I think, is a good thing, and we shouldn't, cut up our nose to spite our face or sacrifice the good for the sake of the perfect. What I do know is the current administration is going the other way. That's what people need to understand.
When you talk to other doctors who don't support that as an end goal, right, regardless of how you get there or whatnot, what is their rationale? Is it just simply like they're afraid they're not going to make as much money?
I have to be honest. I think that's a lot of it. Yeah, I think that's most of it. the AMA might get mad at me, although they did come out against this block granting. And other professional societies may get mad at me for saying this publicly, but we kind of know that. But I think the reason you're seeing more physicians supporting sort of a more public investment in healthcare rather than keeping it completely private is that we have a real shift in the way doctors, the makeup of the profession, a lot more women, a lot more people of color than there were, 10, 20, 30 years ago. The other reality is many more doctors now are employees, so they work for an entity, they work for a hospital system or a large group kind of practice. So they're not, just sort of small business owners out there only worried about kind of what they're bringing in. They're more saying, hey, I'm getting paid X, and I'm trying to just do my job and take care of people, and I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall dealing with denials of coverage. I had a friend that works with me on this committee, and it was just an aside. He said he got a prescription prescribed by his doctor. It was on the formulary. In the 2 days it took him to get to the pharmacy to pick it up, it was taken off of the formulary. So it's supposed to be $20, and he got there and they said that'll be $682.
Oh,
2 days. So his wife got on the phone, called around, and found him a discount program somewhere else where he could get it for like $50. But again, it's like that kind of madness that makes us as doctors, it adds to our workload. It adds to the number of people we need out there pushing papers. It doesn't make any sense. And I think you're seeing
God, he's still fucking
doctors,
blah, blah, blah.
Mostly for those reasons. The money piece of it is sort of less front and center. It's more about the service we can provide to our patients.
Well, we undoubtedly have a lot of doctors who listen to this program, and if they want to get involved in the Committee to Protect Medicare, what should they do?
I think probably the quickest way is to go to committeetoprotect.org, and they can sign up on there, send a message. It'll get to our general email. We get that. We'll get back in touch with people, and then mostly it's things. If people go to our Facebook or Twitter, they'll see me doing social videos about certain issues. I did a response to the State of the Union last night in real time, and that's what people can do. They can just tell their stories. Tell us about your patients, and tell us about how the current policies of the administration or the proposed cuts will impact your patients. It's easier to identify groups of doctors rather than groups of patients to try to advocate. And frankly, most of our patients are just out there trying to work and trying to figure out how to take care of themselves. So committeetoprotect.org, and we'll be happy to sign you up and get you involved and start advocating right away.
Dr. Rob Davidson, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. It's been great. Have a good day.
Okay. Here you go, folks.
Interesting how the conversion of doctors to basically workers rather than business owners has changed their politics.
Yeah, undoubtedly. The sort of the broadening of life experiences has also coming from communities and I guess stations where they see the implications of this stuff more, being denied healthcare and yes, time marches on. Progress, the arc of progress is long, I guess. But
stop butchering me.
Folks, just a reminder, it is your support that makes this show possible. You can become a member by going to jointhemajorityreport.com.
Oh,
when you do,
he's recognizing the audience.
You get the extra content.
Oh, that's
day.
Nice.
And
we're here.
We're working on.
We're right here, Sam.
On the app that are
nice to see you, buddy.
For members.
Nice to see you, buddy.
And we're going to be doing a little bit more bonus video stuff on top of the bonus stuff. It's just so great. So become a member today. JoinTheMajorityReport.com. Also, sign up for the AM Quickie. This thing's exploding. AMQuickie.com. AMQuickie.com. Get your news briefs done quick in the morning. You can keep track of what's going on. If you miss a day of the show, you'll at least have a sense of where we are with with the news and the stories you need to know. amquickie.com, also available on the app. And let me remind you,
Rob, it's like,
Capterra,
do you
it's a
respond to your
free
super
online
chats?
resource that millions use monthly to find the best software solutions for their team or their business. You can pinpoint the problem, filter options to find the right software for your industry. There are more than 700 specific categories of software. That's nuts. Visit Capterra.com/majority for free today. Find the software tools you need for your business. Capterra, that's CAPTERRA.com/majority. Capterra, software selection simplified. Today is Wednesday, which means that yesterday was Tuesday, but something didn't happen on Tuesday. It's going to happen on Wednesday. Isn't that right, Mike?
Indeed. Tonight, Corey Pine is going to join us to talk about why we need to have a complete and total shutdown on technology until we figure out what the hell is going on.
Here, here.
Then we are going to have Emma Vigeland in studio. She is back from Iowa, so we're going to get a ground level perspective. I'm sure say a lot of very negative things about Pete Buttigieg, and talk about a really good column in the New York Times about how on-the-ground journalists in China are working their way around state censors to cover the carnivorous outbreak in a really effective way.
The what?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Coronavirus.
Corona?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, not carnivorous.
I'm totally off on that one. I must have seen I must have seen it first from somebody who spells it like I spell coronavirus. Anyways, a whole bunch more, and of course a David Frum debunk and some clips of his Bhaskar.
Dude,
page.
dude,
Well,
dude, dude,
Patreon.com/TMBS.
you want to smoke this joint?
Plans, for Friday.
Yeah.
I
I feel
know
like a
general
dinosaur.
Admissions tickets to the Bell House are sold out. I think there's a few VIP tickets left if you want to snag them. And where's that board when you need it? Where's that board when you need it? Oh. And April 3rd, come see us at the North Door in Austin with Abby Martin and Anna Kasparian. Patreon.com/TMBS.
Jamie.
This week on the Antifada, I feel like I've been out forever. I did not manage to plug this because I was home with the flu, but it's very good. We have a new edition of History is a Weapon with Sean KB and Matt Christman, wherein they talk about utopian socialism. You might be saying to yourself, what's that? Well, ever since the rise of class society, people have been envisioning a better world. They talk about some of the various Christian traditions associated with utopian socialism, and how it gave rise to a more scientific form of socialism. And I'm halfway through it right now. It's very good, very interesting, learning a lot from it. That's for our patrons. That's out now. It's a two-parter. Also, later today, we have a Sean episode coming out wherein he talks with a couple of left communist types that he met on Twitter about the tendency of the rate of profit to fall over time. It's some real Marxist stuff. So check it out. Patreon.com/theantifada.
Matt.
Yeah, check out Old Literary Hangover. If you listen to their episode about utopia.
Did you say Old Literary Hangover?
Yeah, an Old Literary Hangover.
Oh,
episode.
and old. I thought you had changed the name.
It's Ye Old Literary Hangover now. No, but I talked about utopian socialism on the Blithedale Romance episode by Nintendo Hawthorne. Check that out, folks.
The Blithedale Romance. There you go. See you in the fun half.
Here it is, the fun half.
Jamie and I may have a disagreement.
Yeah, you can't just say
Oh, you get nervous, man.
people just because you're rich.
I have an absolute right to mock them on YouTube.
He's up there buggy whipping like he's the boss.
I am not your employer.
You know, I'm tired of the negativity.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. You're nervous. You're a little bit upset. You're riled up.
Yeah, maybe you should rethink your defense of that, you fucking idiots.
We're just going to get rid of you.
All right.
But dude,
You want to smoke this joint?
Yes.
I feel like a dinosaur.
Do you feel like you are a dinosaur?
secret shit.
Exactly. I'm happy now.
It's a win-win.
It's a win.
Win-win.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now listen to me. 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 8, 406 501 457 238 56 27.
I love this fucking thing so much.
Wow.
He's the ultimate math nerd.
Don't you see?
Why don't you get a real job instead of spewing vitriol and hatred, you left-wing Limbaugh?
Everybody's taking their dumb juice today.
Come on, Sammy!
Dance, dance, dance. Brandon Paul. I had my first host coital scene with a woman. I'm hoping to add more moves to my repertoire. All I have is a dip and a swirl.
Fine, we can double dip.
Yes, this is a perfect moment.
No.
Wait, what?
You make under $1 million a year. You're scum. You're nothing.
Excuse me? Fuck you. You fucking legal elite. I think you belong in jail.
Thank you for saying that, Sam. You're a horrible, despicable person.
All right, gonna take a quick break. I want to take a moment to talk to some of the libertarians out there. Take whatever vehicle you want to drive to the library. What you're talking about is jibber jabs.
Classic. I'm feeling more chill already.
Donald Trump can kiss all of our asses.
Hey Sam, hey Andy, you guys ready to do some evil?
Hitler was such an idiot.
You think I might be a Nazi?
Agreed. No.
Death to America.
You.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow, that's weird. No way. Unbelievable. This guy's got a really good hook.
Sure.
Ooh.
Sam, I gotta get off.
No worries. Listen, I want to just flush this out a little bit. I mean, look, it's a free speech issue. If you don't like me...
Hey, shut up!
Thank you for calling into the Majority Report. Sam will be with you shortly.
It's the fun half, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take some IMs today. I've been very, very, what is the word I'm looking for? Remiss in how I have been treating the IMs. So let's get right to it. Gregory from Oklahoma. Hey, y'all. Today is my 22nd birthday. Today it snowed, so I got to stay home from school and work. Today's been a good day. Please check out my show, The Green Corn Rebellion Show, on YouTube. Please become a patron, and I'll give you one of these.
Happy birthday, Gregory, from Oklahoma.
New metal and good times.
There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Read the super chats.
Let's get to this. Donald Trump was
It's not going to read the super chats.
gave an impeachment speech, a State of the Union speech last night, and it was largely as I predicted. No, he wasn't petty. I would say if there was any theme in the speech, well, there was a couple, but he was trying to be above the fray. There was really basically two elements to the speech, two or three. One was they are on a concerted campaign to either, you can look at it both ways, probably both, pick up some votes from the black community and perhaps maybe just make some people say, I'm not going to show up. Now, I think this is a concerted effort. There's a lot of ads that they're running. They ran a Super Bowl ad that was, featured a mom whose child was imprisoned, wrongly, I think, and she came out, African American woman. The ad, I think, had her saying multiple times, "Thank you, President Trump."
Wait. She was pardoned.
Oh,
not
she
her
was?
son. It was her.
No, it wasn't her. Wasn't her daughter that was pardoned? Wasn't it the mom who was saying that?
The one I saw was the woman
Okay.
in Alabama who he pardoned personally.
Oh, okay. And she came out and said, I thought it was her daughter that she was saying this for. But regardless, and we have the story in Politico of a charitable organization essentially going around to inner cities in Ohio and Michigan and plans maybe to other places, holding raffles for in Trump rallies, basically giving out money. And there's only so many people you need to give out money to before people say, like, I'm not going to go out and vote against the guy. Maybe I'll actually vote for him.
Is this actually going to work though? Like, black voters voted for Trump the least.
Well, that's correct, but they also stayed at home in certain cities in regards to Clinton, and you don't need many people when we're talking about the margins that we're going to be talking about. So I think it's a smart strategy, and I think it's I don't know if it's going to work, but it could. And the other aspect of the State of the Union that was prominent was the whole sort of check under your seat. There's a check for $20 million. Like, he literally gave out money to specific individuals or their favored programs that night and made the announcement. And he did he brought back I don't know if he was an armyman or a serviceman, essentially. I don't know if he was a Marine or
Tuskegee Airmen?
No,
the guy he brought back.
To see the family. Like, have we got a surprise for you, Johnny?
Oh, there's the radio boys.
Back from Iraq.
Johnny, why don't you show them what's behind curtain number 3? And then the other thing that was the feature of the. There you go.
Welcome, everybody. It's the State of the Union.
The other feature of the night was a litany of lies. Here's the first one. Donald Trump saying that, talking about food stamps.
Oh, right. Right? The food stamps. They got all those people off of food stamps.
Under the last administration, more than 10 million people were added to the food stamp rolls. Under my administration, 7 million Americans have come off food stamps and 10 million people have been lifted off of welfare.
That was a lie.
Not the case. According to the Washington Post, about 4.2 million people have stopped receiving food stamps since February of 2017, in part because the economy has gotten better. It was getting better, obviously, under Obama. We've all seen those graphs. It's basically on the same trajectory as it was before. But also because several states have basically rolled back recession-era waivers that have allowed adults to keep
top of the hour. Cheers.
For longer time without being unemployment. You can put that back up. That SNAP
5 minutes
basically tightens work requirements. So once the waivers get rescinded, they put work requirements on there, and less people are eligible. And they're, of course, attempting to cut even more. So that is a lie on its face, on its own terms, and then also nothing to brag about if you think that people should get food stamps. Now, if you think no one should get any type of nutritional support, kids, adults, sorry, can't afford to eat.
Seniors,
if
the disabled,
that is your agenda,
blind people.
brag about that, but presumably it's not. Presumably.
I remember I was at Newt Gingrich called Barack Obama the food stamp president.
Yeah, we've heard some pretty naked rhetoric from Republicans along those lines.
Without a doubt. I think they should probably they should have sort of chyron that underneath when Trump was saying that. I agree. Let's go to this next one. This is Donald Trump talking about protecting pre-existing conditions.
I've also made an ironclad pledge.
Yeah, this was I laughed out loud.
Protect patients with pre-existing conditions.
Bullshit. And look at Nancy Pelosi shaking her head. And they show this motherfucker. Look at her. She's sitting there shaking her head.
Very happy about this. Now, here's the thing. There is some wiggle room here, because we don't know what he means by protect patients with pre-existing conditions. Many of you probably heard we're going to protect
What you got?
people who want to get health care with pre-existing conditions by forcing health insurance companies, as we do now under the Affordable Care Act, to accept them and not charge them higher rates because of the pre-existing conditions. Maybe that's what you heard.
High five.
But if that's what you heard, I don't think that's what he meant, because right now, right this very second, and certainly during the seconds in which he said those words, and the seconds in which Stephen Miller wrote them, or whoever wrote those words for him, the Trump administration, via the Department of Justice, is supporting a lawsuit by, I think it's about a dozen states, maybe half a dozen states, to strike down the Affordable Care Act and the Texas v. U.S. Act. So in other words, the DOJ is actually working on the side of the people who are challenging the law, and it essentially is challenging the individual mandate as being unconstitutional. And the question is whether the rest of the law is severable, and they are arguing that it's not. So in other words, if the individual mandate is unconstitutional, then the whole law has to go down, in which case you would lose protections for those people who have pre-existing conditions in terms of their capacity to buy health insurance. So I think what we rate this on our fact check is lie. That's our lie sound for now. One more. Oh, and here's another. This is not so much a lie. Well, I guess it is a lie. Oh, what's that one?
It's 100,000 high-paying jobs from the USMCA.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. We could do that one.
Six days ago, I replaced NAFTA and signed the brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement into law. The USMCA will create nearly 100,000 new high-paying American auto jobs and massively boost exports for our farmers, ranchers, and factory workers.
Okay, that job, 100,000 high-paying auto, that figure can be found in no document. No document that's been put out by the supporters of that trade agreement. No document that's put out by the people who are against that trade agreement. No document. No one has put out that figure. The highest figure that anybody I've seen put out is somewhere around like 40 to 50,000. You double it.
You round it up a little bit.
You round it up to the nearest 100,000. So 3 jobs, 100,000.
Exactly.
Oh
God.
So, lastly, we have one more lie. One more lie from, and there's plenty more, but we just, we need to move on.
There has to be some.
I have a lie I've identified.
Well, here's a lie that, there was one more lie, and it was not just gross insofar as, Rush Limbaugh's a disgusting human being. Now, I'm not saying that in terms of like the way he looks, although he looks sort of disgusting.
That's how I'm saying.
I'm not saying it in terms of the way that he acts in a personal manner. I don't know. I don't think it's disgusting to have had as many marriages as he had. A lot of people I know have had that many marriages. Of course, the damage that he's done to this country, I don't know if we can actually quantify in a real way. Starting with the development of the theory that the Clintons murdered Vince Foster, the racism, the sexism that he has promulgated, the horror show that he has created in terms of right-wing talk radio. I mean, go on and on. And I don't know that he's on his deathbed yet. Hope springs eternal. But he was awarded, what was he awarded? The Medal of Freedom last night? I don't even know who else is on this list. I think if I knew, it would make me sick. But look how surprised Rush Limbaugh is. He knew he was invited to the State of the Union, but look how surprised he is about to receive this award.
Yeah, he was so
The
surprised.
incredible work that you have done for charity. I am proud to announce tonight that you will be receiving our country's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Look how surprised he was. What? What's going on? I don't know where I am. Oh, is my mouth agape? I can't believe it. What?
Am I dreaming?
Wait a second.
Pitch me. Am I dreaming?
Let me check with you on the right. Is it really me? Oh my God! I'm so surprised.
I'm incredibly high on pills.
I had no idea. I just don't believe it.
I'd like to thank him for his development work in the Dominican Republic and helping us.
I will now ask the First Lady of the United States.
This is
to
how you
present
react when you first
with the
find
honor.
out,
Yes.
apparently, that you're getting this medal. And
I am
she's
now
told, what?
sharing
Are they going to put it on me now? Oh my God! I can't believe
The
it.
First Lady will now give him the ritual hand job, which is always conferred.
I don't believe it. I'm so surprised. So surprised. There's Rush Limbaugh, shocked. And who would not be shocked if you were sitting at the State of the Union and did not know? But unfortunately, no, here's Politico. Let's do Politico first. Politico. Trump to award Presidential Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh. And this was printed at 5:53, like 3 or 4 hours before. Now, I know it's possible. Limbaugh go like, I don't read Politico. Nobody I know reads Politico. Nobody would have ever told me if they had seen it in Politico because I don't have anybody in my orbit who reads Politico.
Politicon.
However, Breitbart,
Are you fixing that?
well, yes, Breitbart. Trump to award Rush Limbaugh with Medal of Freedom, which was also printed that day. Half hour
Have
later.
you seen it? You see what I'm talking
So
about?
the idea that he didn't know is, of course, absurd. He was just faking it to make it seem like he was humble and hadn't,
It's like a
the whole thing had been,
teenager.
well, the whole thing is being orchestrated. I mean, look, that's what he's a professional propagandist.
And now to honor a man who has cancer moving faster through his body than he's sinking in the Arbitron ratings, Rush Limbaugh.
Now, listen, I have been accused of being a left-wing Limbaugh in the past.
Oh, that was a great call.
Right? We've had that call.
Yep.
So let's try it out. Let's see if I can do this.
Hey,
We're
Sam.
not. We're just. All right, let me get prepared here because you're introducing me on the show today. Is Sam Cedar, and then you go into the note.
How about we'll do it like this?
And now, against my better instincts, I would like to honor Sam Cedar with the Congressional Medal of Freedom.
I think you got it.
Oh,
You turn around now, Jane is going to drape the medal around your neck.
Rush did lay it on thick last night, man. It was like,
It's just how you're gonna do it, just like
That's
that.
exactly how I'm going to do it. Boom.
Totally shocked.
Jesus Christ.
I hope it's not because I have cancer.
Yeah, it's totally upfront.
Completely impromptu. Completely impromptu. Here we go. Let's go to the IMs. Ryan from Ohio. How about a random rush? I don't think he's on. Right? He's not on. We really dropped the ball with that one. Well, how great would it have been if we got random rush? He announced that he had cancer.
So what Rush is doing now is he's saying that he has advanced stage cancer, which is funny. It's one of his better bits. And what he's going to do is he's going to loop that into a lie about the Affordable Care Act.
Right,
Okay,
that's
let's
right.
start the clock.
I still got cancer, even though we had health insurance.
So what they want is government bureaucrats, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I still have cancer.
I heard it was stage 4, man.
Think about it.
Chris from Taiwan. I spent a week or two in Iowa knocking on doors. I cannot overemphasize how easy it is to convince persuadable or unlikely voters to support Bernie. Almost everyone has some kind of problem or struggle that the Sanders platform addresses, whether it's student debt, inadequate health insurance, low wages, etc. We can definitely still win this. The campaign is asking everyone outside the early states to go work in their home states right away, particularly door knocking. The campaign also wants everyone to step up what's called relational organizing, talking to friends, families, neighbors, coworkers. Everyone get after it. Let's do this. Doctor from New Jersey. I second Dr. Rob, except anything worth the paper it's printed on won't get through a Republican Senate. We should not be pre-negotiating. I think that's true. We will see in terms of what the Senate is, but I see what you're saying in terms of like, don't say that you'll accept anything, I guess, ultimately. PDX Tony, Sam, please discuss turnout and Bernie's theory of the case. Well, apparently, do we have those numbers on turnout? The turnout numbers were better than we had assumed when they had released 50% of the votes. It appears that 2016 was topped, and
Sean, that's fine.
It did not beat 2008, but Iowa is also a state that is been turning more Republican, and so it is very difficult. It's not an apples to apples a comparison, but in terms of over 2016, more people were turned out. Youth turnout was up something like, I don't know, 28% or something like that, which, again, you know, I think we're going to have to wait and see what happens in New Hampshire, what happens in South Carolina to get a real sense of this. Sanders' numbers, it's you know, it's hard to assess. It's really hard to assess with what we saw. He did not overperform his polling, as far as I can tell, in the way that, you know, one might hope or anticipate, but we'll see going forward. Apparently in 2016 or 2008, January 3rd is when they had it, and there was more people who take off those first couple of days of the year. There's all sorts of sort of apples to oranges type of comparisons in terms of turnout, but he did not overperform his polling numbers, but we shall see. So I don't know that he proved the theory of the case, but I don't know that the theory of the case was disproved either. Let's put it that way. And certainly we don't have the full numbers yet. So
that's really, people just need to keep, and Jim Messina coming out on Twitter and saying like, oh, basically we should just leave this all behind, is disgusting and ridiculous.
Just leave it at 71%.
Just leave it at 71%.
It's really,
this election is going to be incredibly close right now. Passions of the Democratic Party are running on an all-time high. We ought to put Iowa behind us. Says the man, I always have to remind everybody of this, who told David Cameron, you can call a Brexit referendum.
Right.
Do we know what places have yet to report? Are they Bernie places?
My understanding is they are.
That's
Bernie,
what I heard.
They are Bernie heavy places.
Like slightly, like it's not a huge discrepancy, but overall, generally.
That's my understanding.
Very suspicious.
We shall see.
It also happens. I mean, part of it is because it's from the more populous areas, and that apparently it's easier for them to get the rural stuff in. I don't know.
Yeah, and the other things that I'm seeing some shadow. I put in the mix that also, when you break it down, outside of the white population of Iowa, that Bernie is cleaning up.
Oh, right on, Sean.
Ryan Grimm told us that on when he called into the program during the night. We need to see more.
I can
Retcon.
read that in the mainstream media.
Maybe at the Intercept.
They're not lame.
Oh, okay. Retcon.
Media.
The Chapo guy said that if the Democrats launched a coup at a contested convention, and selected Michael Bloomberg, they would not vote for him, even if he was the nominee. I don't know what coup means. I think there's going to be real problems if I don't know what coup means in that
It's
instance.
hyperbole.
Can I just?
Well, no, I know it's hyperbole, but that doesn't, this person's asking me, would you vote for Bloomberg? If a coup means that, all the other candidates throw their delegates behind Bloomberg and he wins, I don't have as much of a problem with that. If the super delegates come in favor of someone who has less delegates than someone else, I would have a big problem with that. Would I vote for Bloomberg? I mean, look, all those guys live in New York. I live in New York. What I would do is not terribly relevant. I can tell you that if I was in a swing state, I will vote for the Democrat over Donald Trump. Things like tens of thousands of people being thrown off of Medicaid, the potential for cuts of Social Security and Medicare in the second term, what's happening with, children of immigrants, what's happening to the DACA recipients, what's happening to the temporary protected status, what's happening with the ban on immigrants from basically countries where people are not white. The list goes on and on. And now, do I have a problem with somebody saying right now in New York that they're not going to vote for the nominee? I mean, I think to a certain extent, what they're doing is probably just, more about trying to make a point about the sort of electability arguments that people are, saying like, I don't know if, some segment of population is going to vote for Bernie. And then I think what they're doing is they're saying, well, you should also be aware that there may be another segment of the population that won't vote for Bloomberg.
Let me say this. And this is, maybe another argument that I would prefer to have at another time about legitimacy versus sort of the technicalities of the rules. I think a question that needs to be starting to ask of the candidates, and IAMR gave us this idea, I wish I could remember his name, is will you support going into the convention the candidate who has the lead delegate count? And that's my view. So I don't know, who, whatever, technically within the rules, we don't need to use that kind of language, but I and a lot of people would have a huge problem if Bernie, as an example, goes in with a 10-point delegate lead and, Bloomberg cuts a deal to get the nomination. That is a democratic legitimacy problem, regardless of whether or not it fits in the rules. And then I think the other real quick point I'd make is I just think that I don't think it's the right time to be affirming what we'll do in a general election. We've got to figure this out right now. I will never be in a position, I'll say this to everybody, I am never going to advocate somebody voting in a swing state in such a way that will allow Donald Trump's return to office. Like, I'm also not going to pretend and play that game, but I'm also not going to be, emotionally blackmailed or in a premature conversation when this is at the heights.
Right. I think that's the best answer for look, I think there's something performative, the Chapo guys are doing, and I think it's illustrative of.
It's illustrative and it's funny.
It's accepting a premise. It's what Brunig was doing. It's accepting the premise about the Bernie Bros. It's actually not true.
It's actually, and that's the other.
If you follow these people's logic to its own conclusion, then the only responsible choice to nominate is Bernie Sanders.
Right, and I think, look, if people are going to insist upon declarations,
smartest thing Jamie's ever said,
I would be hesitant to make any clear declaration in terms of something like that, just because, if I'm bluffing now and I'm going to change my tune after the convention, I'd be hesitant to do that. But I also do think it's perfectly legitimate to say, like, you know what, that's a general election question, and I'll answer that in the general election. But I do think it's far more legitimate to get commitments, like you're saying, from from people who are running right now. What are you going to do at the convention? Because this is going to be a function of whether I vote for you. Like if I'm going to vote for Amy Klobuchar, I want to know how she's going to dispense her delegates.
And that's really, and let me just be really clear about this. This is where I do have some consistency. Like if I would say, look, there's some scenarios where if it's like a photo finish between two candidates, let's say it's Bernie and Bloomberg neck to neck, and somehow Gabbard pushes it over for Bernie, you could argue, okay, that's some type of center-left majority, or vice versa. If it's Bloomberg and Klobuchar, okay. But if any of them have, say, a 10-point or 5-point, any type of clear delegate lead, I want to know that you're going to go for who has the lead delegates, period. No bullshit, no nonsense.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to talk about what happens in the general because everyone's rightfully concerned about beating Trump. And, the Chapo thing might be a bit of a joke, but it's not that different from electability arguments that we have been making, which is that the people who support Bernie Sanders might be the softest support in the Democratic Party. So, the people who vote for Biden in the primary are going to vote for whoever the nominee is in the general, whereas the Bernie people might not.
Yeah, I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about the general. I'm saying in terms of making some declaration about your intent to vote for the nominee or not, I think it's, I think it's perfectly legitimate to say, there's not even a point of arguing that right now or talking about it. And, you don't need, there's no reason for voters to have to make some type of, declaration about that right now.
Our voting intent doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things.
I think there's value too, though, if you have some type of media platform, frankly. Like, I mean, again, I'm if they did that with Bloomberg, I could not, with a straight face, tell my audience, "Oh, this is fine. We'll keep fighting the good fight."
But he's gonna
you
do
know what I'm
all
saying?
the
Like,
same
I
things
can't
as
do that.
Trump. Like I mean, I know we just said not to make declarations, but I will not declare that I would vote for Bloomberg. Let's just put it that way.
In New York, I definitely won't declare that.
Right.
There's a
Well, that's the
chance I
point.
would do it.
Well,
In a
look,
swing state, fine, but I don't care to.
That's the only relevant part of the
spend time
conversation.
talking about it.
in New York, I will not vote for any Democrat besides Bernie. In New York, I'm Bernie or bust this cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's perfectly legitimate. And it's almost silly not to.
Yes.
Vox Popo. I'm not getting this new Ronald Reagan doctor character. Squints. Love the show. Studying for undergrad in Florida. How should I approach my libertarian poli-sci professor when they argue socialism kills people? Thanks so much. You should tell them to listen to this show and call in.
Watch their back.
Yeah, you want to bring up some examples of how many people capitalism has killed? We'll be here all day.
Right. That's a good point. Everything kills people. Let's put it that way. Louisiana leftist. Nice MSNBC clip talking about how our democracy is a myth. It was really more our meritocracy. Eric, although I could have. That's just a different day. Eric Reisberg, criminally negligent with the IMs. Rosenberg voice. I'm suing you. Dave Hubarb. February 7th, last day to register for a Democratic mail-in ballot in Colorado. February 7th, folks. You got 2 days. Register for a mail-in ballot. Ayn Rand, Paul Ryan. Hey, has Matt had a New York bagel yet?
I had a Montreal bagel. It was delicious.
Wait, are you seriously not had a New York bagel?
You
Yeah, he has that.
Are you effing kidding me?
We've talked about this.
Are you specifically not?
I'm a creature of habit.
What'd you do if I brought in a bagel?
I mean, it depends what kind of bagel.
What do you mean, what kind of bagel?
And how
A
high
bagel
It's like raisin or blueberry, so I'm gonna probably eat it.
Raisin or wait.
You have the most
You just said
They don't
you just
sell
said hey, they have.
I don't know about
I like how Matt is
I had
like.
a good
I like how
cinnamon
Matt's
raisin.
like, hey, if it's particularly disgusting, I might try it. What about a nice plain bagel or a poppy seed bagel?
everything bagel.
You like cream
perhaps?
cheese?
Not a big cream cheese fan.
What
You're
about
gonna
butter?
eat one.
Butter's good.
It's gonna be a
All right,
Patreon
I'm
goal.
getting
Basically, this does bring us back to the early days of back coming in here and be like, you fellas know Jerry Seinfeld?
Maddening.
I was in New York 2 weeks ago for the first time. I can't imagine why you wouldn't be eating bagels every day if you could.
Well, because you get fat.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't get fat. He
Seb
eats
Gorka,
garbage.
you should eat the bagels.
Actually, Frank,
Seb
Look, I'm a
Gorka's
little mad. I would eat so many bagels if I could.
Seb Gorka's back pain. Soledad O'Brien has really been freaking out lately. Normally she acts like she's afraid someone's going to come and take her money, but lately she's been acting like Bernie's going to personally shoot all her horses. Wu-Tang Clan, why is no one talking about Trump glitching? He's been doing it almost once a speech, including
Say
last
goodbye.
night.
Say goodbye to Princess Soledad.
I don't want to go full Hillary Parkinson's here, but he's having some kind of neurological incidents. He covers it up by saying, look, after he loses the word, and he does this weird shoulder jerk. Here's his glitch last night. Do you have that glitch? I remember it, but wait a second. Here's a...
I don't
let's see
know.
if I can get you the,
People spend too much time worrying about that shit.
There's something wrong with my browser. It's not like launching stuff. It's weird. Here's the link, though. This is, and Wu-Tang Clan says, I am not a crockpot. All right, so look, I think yeah, that's what it is. I remember this now. He has had this sort of thing where he does, like, where he went criminal the other day. Like, it's a weird thing. I don't remember him doing these before, but maybe he did. I just don't pay that much attention. But it is seemingly
Mali
happening.
Mali.
The state of California passed an outrageous law declaring their whole state to be a sanctuary for criminal, illegal.
Sanctuary. A sanctuary.
See, I think what it is that he combined sanctuary state, and he realized it as he got to the A part. Let's play that again. Can we do that again?
I also think maybe dentures. There's a denture situation going on.
Well, I think he
He's
hears
just not a
himself
good
say
public
stank
speaker, man. He
you,
doesn't know
and
how
then
to.
he tries to pull back
Right.
and redo it, but he can't. So he.
The state of California passed an outrageous law declaring their whole state to be a sanctuary for criminal, illegal.
I
have to agree.
The way
with the
Pelosi looks up like,
that you
what?
should not have
Sanctuary.
You should not declare your state a sanctuary. That's going to be bad for tourism.
No, you declare a sanctuary, and that's where everyone does their farting.
Watch the back and to the right jerk he does as he does that. Let's see that one more time. Oh, here's you go.
Women and children. He directed the December assault and went on to assault.
December
Yeah,
Dassault.
I think he's just can't
December
read that
Dassault.
well. He's just tired.
He's tired.
Congressional
This is
baseball
a long
fans.
speech. Almost an hour
Bizarre
and 20
politics
minutes.
update from Arizona. Recently, one of our
Hour
sincerely
and 25
wacky
minutes,
Republican
some
state
crazy
reps,
shit.
who's an AM talk radio hack, in a single tweet celebrated attending the March for Life rally and announced that he just found out about a daughter he fathered from an Air Force affair 40 years ago.
Nice.
We have to get to these morons out of office. I'm becoming more convinced than ever that I'm going to have to run for one of these seats soon. Oh yeah, on top of it, former quote most progressive member of our legislature is Kristen Sinema. Dolink. The doling out of money at rallies is the same methods that cartels are using to give out toys to children in Mexico to ingratiate themselves to people and make them shut up. Rush Limbaugh's.
There's always been walking around
tumors.
money too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think people should not be naive.
Well, there's always been walking around money, but this is like more of. This is more like the toys because it's like sort of more public.
Yeah.
True. Rush Limbaugh's tumors. Hey, everybody, because the walking around money was sort of like on the down low, and this is more like, look at him. He's giving, it's like when the mobster goes out and throws money out into the street. Rush Limbaugh's tumors. Hey, everybody. Hey, asking for everybody to send positive vibes. We're working hard to get this project done, and we need all the help we can get. Hashtag all in this together. A square. Sam, Mike, you called this all with your SOTU bingo card. Sam, great clip of you on Hayes. Not sure if my IM made it last night, but I think Bannon was behind that Part 2 American Carnage speech. Thanks for coverage last night on MR. Local pizza historian, hello crew. Healthcare costs are rising. As such, 25% fewer Americans are seeking primary care. On a personal note, I had the flu 2 weeks ago. I had to go to the hospital, and yesterday I got the bill, 10,000 American dollars. But don't worry, I was able to save a few bucks by telling the immediate care doctor not to call an ambulance, so there is a marker, and I'm an intelligent consumer. Well, you should always get your flu shot, even though, like, you know.
What are you looking at me for?
I was just looking straight out in front of the people who refuse to get a flu shot when I told everybody that I would even pay for your flu shot.
I got owned. I will admit, I can admit when I've been owned, and I've been owned.
There are years where it's only like 45% effective. Not 45% effective, like effective in 45% of the cases. But
you have to guess the flu strain, right?
Yeah, but that's
it would be difficult.
That's better than not. So,
I asked the nurse if I could get a flu shot now, and they looked at me like, "You stupid idiot."
You don't understand. You've already got the flu.
Can I have a flu shot now?
Amazing.
Should I start eating salad?
Can I have a salad now?
Do you think Bernie should be calling on Iowa results and for Tom Perez's resignation as a sign strike?
Yes.
Will it hurt?
Go
Bernie
ahead,
to stay on the
Jerry.
sidelines?
I'm fine.
I mean,
at the least, somebody's got to call for. I mean, literally, Tom Perez needs to resign.
I saw Carvel on James Carvel call for his resignation.
Yeah.
And there was another story, actually,
that guy could barely handle those Brown classes.
Where there's another story that I forgot about. I can get my damn browser. Okay, so the two of the leaders of the Milwaukee House Committee for the 2020 DNC, this is the Democratic National Convention, were fired. The president and her chief of staff, because they were suspended because of a investigation into a toxic workplace allegation. They felt bullied and intimidated by the chief of staff of Gilbert.
So these are Klobuchar supporters.
Exactly.
Klobuchar reads their person. Oh my God, pussies.
You guys know nothing.
You guys are pathetic. I remember one time prosecuting this nonviolent drug case to throw a Somali in jail for life. And I threw scalding coffee at my research assistant. We were laughing about it 3 hours later.
Calling from a 702 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? Hold on, I get my phone ready. Yeah, this is Roger. How you doing?
Roger, where are you calling from?
Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm calling about the upcoming Nevada caucuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a big thing here is the culinary union. I don't know how to go with that. But huge thing here, I think.
Ron Placon just went
Whenever
live.
you got on your phone, it's not good. Are you on a
Damn.
headset? Yeah, just go and talk right into it.
Well, I take my speaker off. Let me put my speaker back on. Okay, it might work better.
Okay.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Hold on. Okay, I had a thing on my phone. All right. Anyway, I've been to like I've seen like seven different candidates here. I've been to 3 forums that they had at the culinary workers local, at the union hall.
Get notified that he went live.
The big
Fucking
thing
idiots.
with
They're not
them,
even
of course,
showing me
is
his
their,
live.
Insurance plan, because they have an incredible insurance plan.
The boot is wedged that far in their mouth.
Free almost anything. They have their own clinic.
That they actually
have their own urgent
think
care, their own
that's
pharmacy.
meaningful action.
And so basically, they have a socialist
You have
system
all
now,
these
and they're
things.
afraid of
It's
losing
really
it.
easy
So
to
that's Bernie's
example
big
when you see
problem
that
with
stuff.
them.
Interesting.
But then you meet the people in your community.
Same questions to every candidate. They wanted to know about healthcare. They want to know about immigration, and of course, union rights and cutting back the military thing. What I see right now, the big issue is if the Culinary Workers Union local or Unite Here, their national affiliate, endorses a candidate before the Nevada office.
This guy talks way too fucking slow.
Who's the president of Unite here? And
shut the fuck up.
Saturday, don't wait. Get your tickets now. Get them quick before they run out. Tucson, Arizona. We're going to be there. Me and Graham Elwood are going to be there this Saturday, February 8th, Tucson, Arizona. Tickets at ronflacone.com. February 29th, San Francisco, California. Get your tickets. Don't wait. Can't wait to see you again, San Francisco. March 12th, Orlando, Florida. March 13th, Tampa, Florida. March 14th, Miami, Florida. April 9th, Concord University. I'll be there. That's just me. April 10th, I'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. That's what's coming up in the first third of the year. We got dates all through 2020. Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta. Hold tight. Tickets are coming soon. Chicago, Milwaukee, Richmond, Virginia, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Boston, New York, Portland, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis. Get your tickets. Don't wait. ronflacone.com for all those tickets. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/ronflacone. For a Get What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album.
He's been on 43 minutes.
And you're going to help me. I want to continue my Sounds of Revolution series. It started with Jill Stein, where I interview musicians and musician-adjacent people about 2020. And I want to start doing the mini documentaries about municipal broadband. We're almost at it, if you are so able. We're almost there. And I really want to start making these mini documentaries. I really want to bring one community at a time. That's the only way. It's not going to work any other way. It just won't. And one thing you can do in your community, there are many things, but one of the things you can do, city-owned internet. Without a solid communication vehicle, which we've come to know as the internet, how are we going to solve any of our other problems? We're not. And they took net neutrality from us. They're going to try to gut the internet and turn it into cable television 2.0. That's what they're going to try to do. They did it with TV. They did it with radio. Now they're going to try to do it with the internet. And if they succeed, that'll go away. It won't be a free and open platform. The internet to your community. That's what I'm trying to do in mine, but I'm still working on it. And one of the things I want to do is I want to get these mini talks out.
Not only invited
so that more people can learn about this issue and how they can do it in their community, and together we'll build a resource for the country. It's already started, and I want it to be amplified. And I'm almost at that goal, but I need resources. I need to be able to, the production editors that I need, the camera people that I need. They got bills to pay. They got to keep the lights on. They run companies. They can't just do this for charity. So patreon.com/ronflacone if you are so able.
That oil?
Moonborn Unicorn. I think Mayor Cheat swapped his votes with Biden's. Definitely possible, Moonborn. Nathaniel Mercier. Oh man, it just jumped on me. 2016 and 2020. Oil on your neck yet? Yes, I did. I put it on my neck last night, and my fiance put some on her ankle. I think she got like a cut on her ankle or something like that, but she put some on her ankle as well. So I'll give a more full report later. And let's see, Nathaniel, I can't
That's
see
awesome.
Your last one here. Nathaniel, everyone watching, like and share. We are the revolution. Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much for that, Nathaniel. Thank you guys so much. Let me give a quick other thank you to all of our super chatters here. Moonborn Unicorn, Nathaniel, Poopy Cake, Sparky, Nathaniel again, Sparky, Trendiest Dabbers, Nathaniel. Thank you very much for your super chat contributions. Thank you very much for making this show possible, guys. We are and Trendiest Dabbers. Thank you again. Let me try to get your last one out there here. Rub it in hard. All right.
Right. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah. Rub it in hard, bro.
It definitely helped. Like it definitely helped my neck, and now I feel like it's wearing. It did help.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'll have a more thorough testimonial soon.
Awesome.
But I did try.
Awesome.
And I did like it.
Good.
So guys, thank you so much for making this possible. We were an hour early today.
Trendy ass Dabbers, Ron Flacone, Jimmy Dore, Steph Zamorano, all endorsing the oil now.
Kathy Lloyd, thank you so much.
Love it.
You know I love those pairs. And you get
love it.
That took place. What's that? And Clapgate would be the other.
Clapgate? Now, Clapgate, them not clapping is a standard fare.
Oh, no, I mean when Pelosi clapped at Trump.
Oh, clapped at him?
Remember that? You don't remember that?
No, from last night?
No, it was from...
Handshake Gate. We haven't come up with a great line for it, but here it is. This is Handshake Gate. Trump comes in and
timing here.
Hands.
On the other hand, the president does give this
Hands the speeches.
with the certainty that he will
Gives that speech. She gives his hand out. He either doesn't see it or just ices her. And it's a little bit awkward for her. She pretends like that didn't happen. And then the Empire Strikes Back. Here she is, after the speech, doing something that is really, really just horrific. Can you imagine ripping paper?
Ripping paper.
To the nation tonight, just sort of about.
Oh no, she didn't.
Yeah, she did it twice too. That's it. She did 2 different sections of it.
Ripping paper.
I think because it was probably a thick speech, and so she wasn't sure that she could do all of it. And apparently now people are just the right is up in arms. How could she rip the paper? It's sort of stunning. Their president has said that Congress people who are people
some hot water because he said, she applauded him this entire speech, but then she gave you a gif at the end.
Right.
And I think I think it's just an eye roll, I think, for people like us that,
Yeah.
Well, I think either way, it's like if you're not going to take the ripping seriously, you shouldn't take the applauding so seriously either. Like it's all performative.
And
stuff.
also, let's be like, it's just the era of, even in those own terms, it's just diminishing returns. It's like there might have been a minute in 2017 where that type, or 2018 when there was a little bit of power theoretically, where maybe that had some kind of performative effect. But now it's like a year in, she passes all the major legislation that he wants, and we expect it. We know that. I knew that's another bet we could have taken. What is Nancy Pelosi going to do so that people, freak out on Twitter and create a bunch of silly memes? Now, I do have one.
She is posting well, though.
I do have one suggestion that would actually make a difference, and this would entail some risk, and I'm not even really joking here. It would be on the continuum, and it would do something. If she brought him in, if he somehow she could get him to shake her hand, and while he is under her, and they are shaking, and she would have to do it with a smile and with a very gentle approach, but definitionally condescending. And she went, and no, shaking, other hand, that was a good job. You rub the hair. Disassemble it in front of the country. That would be a win.
So shake the hand.
Shake the hand. Good job. Good speech.
Like a little dog.
What did I just do?
I don't think she could actually reach on the top of his head. She's shorter than he is. He's a tall guy.
No. When she's standing over him.
Oh, there.
Yes.
Yes, that would
have been great.
Muss the hair right after
that. That's the move, right?
Yas, queen.
Secret Service could would
send you to Guantanamo. No. But that would actually do something.
Or even maybe something like this, like shake the hand and do something. But he snubbed her on the handshake, so he didn't have a chance.
Right.
She could have gone like, just give it a look, like, oh, I can see your skull, something like that. Like a look.
I just want them to destroy each other.
Or this would be good, is if during the speech at one point she just goes, oh.
That would be actually like Trump.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to react like someone had farted, but something smelled really bad.
She just trumps it. I said, just like, you're trying to listen to the speech, and then all of a sudden it's disgusting, and everyone noticed.
This is a pretty stunning exchange, and apparently people have gotten on this guy on Twitter,
This guy's not the sharpest.
You're holding on the phone. Oh my God!
We'll talk about it in a second. Maybe you can find it. It's where he says, like, if you're a guy making $15 an hour or something to that effect, you don't care the difference between.
Are you nervous?
Billionaire. Pull that up if you can find that. But
Oh yeah, what the hell?
here is this exchange with Jason Johnson and Nina Turner.
Close viewers watching our last segment may have heard Bernie surrogate Nina Turner call Mayor Bloomberg an oligarch, to which our own Jason Johnson took exception. State Senator Turner from Ohio is still listening in Des Moines because she wanted a moment to respond. Nina?
Yes.
Senator, Thank you so very much. You know, it's just ironic to me that somebody would defend the wealthiest people in this country over the working people in this country. We need real campaign finance reform to the extent that a Mayor Bloomberg can totally finance his campaign. He doesn't have to go out to the people. He doesn't have to build a movement. He doesn't have to talk to people. He can buy his way. It is the same attitude that the elites, maybe Jason likes the word elite over oligarch, but it's the same attitude that the elites had in 1930 against FDR. All of them lined up against him, and he said, I welcome your hatred, because he was standing up for the people. And that is the same message that Senator Bernie Sanders has to the everyday people of this nation, that I welcome the hatred of the elites because I am standing up for you. So cry me a river for the wealthy people in this country.
I mean, you work for a candidate who's part of the 1%. I have no problem with criticizing the system. The system that allows Mike Bloomberg to make all the money that he makes, the system that allows him to buy what he wants to buy, the system that allows him to buy himself into the administration and buy himself into the debates is a problem. But to call him an oligarch, I think, is a misnomer in this environment. Again, you're working for somebody who's part of the 1%. Do you call him an oligarch? No, you don't. You say he's a rich guy. Because just because somebody has a tremendous amount of money doesn't mean that they're not necessarily representing the people. And if you want to use the term elite, you can use whatever kind of term that you want to use. But at the end of the day, the enemy of this country, the enemy of the poor, is not just everybody who happens to be rich. It is a capitalistic system that abuses people. And if you want to speak about that, that's fine. But if you want to name call people, that's not going to help Bernie if he becomes a nominee. And he's going to need Mike Bloomberg's money. He's going to need Mike Bloomberg's money down the road.
It's ironic that you're defending somebody that is buying his way through the democracy. Yes, you are. You are defending him.
Because that's how you guys operate. When it comes to actual campaign politics, it makes sense to actually describe people for the positions that they have.
Is this about a word? Is this about a word, Jason? Is this about a word?
No, it's not just about a word. It's about the implications of it. And it's about criticizing the system versus criticizing individuals. Like I said, I wouldn't call Bernie Sanders an oligarch if he happens to be part of the 1%. I would say he's somebody who's wealthy, but who's dedicated to his
he just got there at the age of 78 years old.
Okay, let me end this. I just want to bring because I do like.
Well, all right. So here's the thing, that Jason hurt his own argument by saying it's not just about the word, because you could argue that the word is thrown around a little bit too loosely. But the fact of the matter is that when you're talking about someone who is a billionaire. And it's true, Bernie Sanders is in the 1%. But when you're talking about somebody who's a billionaire, whose own personal wealth rivals that of like 25% of the country, in the aggregate, one who has the ability, without really making a hard decision, I'm sure it's a little bit of a hard decision, but if you take out the part like, what's it going to do to my family and this and that, in terms of spending the money, the ability for him to come in and exclusively by his net worth, because that's how he also became mayor of New York City, exclusively by his net worth, and that's also how he had 3 terms instead of 2. Literally bought that 3rd term, exclusively by his wealth, being able to come in and register in the national polls, to be able to avoid being in the debates because he doesn't need to take a single donation. Like, to avoid taking donations, to avoid being presented to the public. To have that type of power in society, that type of spending power, to own his entire, a massive media enterprise, which even if he had held to the pledge that he made about not reporting on his rivals in the election, still would be highly problematic. An oligarch specifically is a small group of leaders of the country, and it's almost impossible to say. Obviously, maybe there's a dividing line that Jason could have been thinking about. Like, well, if you're not one of 20 people that run everything, there's no such thing as an oligarchy. But
just say
he said it wasn't just about
$60 billion.
Right.
It's a statement of fact. Like, the fact that he took it as an insult says volumes about
Well, it's not a question of insult. He just thinks it's not relevant that the system. But the idea that these people with this kind of money are not in any way responsible for their actions or need to take any responsibility, that it's just the system. Yes, the system allows for people to become billionaires like that. But it's also problematic where they say, like, nobody's saying that Michael Bloomberg can't run, but he is creating his own rules here with his money. He is changing the course of where the country goes with his money. If he left it all in the bank, we would have a systemic problem because he's hoarding that money. But the fact that he's deploying it in this way to have such influence over the country is a problem of his making too. It is a systemic problem that we allow people to get that money. It is a Michael Bloomberg problem that he's using it to basically control the lives of millions of people. And he's also, frankly, sucking up campaign staff in such a way that there's no availability for people down ticket to hire people. Because Michael Bloomberg's coming in a campaign that has like 4% rating nationally.
And has people who work for him who are on the rules committee of the DNC.
Well, on top of which, he is buying his way onto this situation. He's buying his way into these endorsements, and by buying, I mean he is viable because of his own money.
Also, there's a fudge when you say that Bernie's in the 1%. He's in the 1% lately in terms of earning per year because he's became a best-selling author. But in terms of wealth, it's actually about 10.7 million. Bernie's at like 2.5. So
Right.
I mean, and I like an oligarch, or to be a really rich person, you really need the ability to control the labor of a whole bunch of people. Like, so Bernie could have a small startup.
1% definitionally is not the oligarchy. The oligarchy is the 0.001%.
Right. And I think I just want to just say, like, there's also, I think, the connotation that I would assume Jason is doing, because I've never seen Jason say anything that is in any way like insightful and not sort of typical pablum from cable news. Like, I think he's just upset, frankly, because you're only supposed to use that word in a Russian context.
He doesn't read super chats.
And I think that we should use that word freely and openly. I can think of almost, definitionally, billionaires have a skewing effect on the political process, like you were saying.
If he had said,
and in Bloomberg's case, he is.
All right, so. Thanks for tuning in, guys. My shoulder's really bothering me. I gotta go. And I've got to go down to the post office to go take boxes down there in an hour or so. So I will see you guys on the next show. I don't know when it's going to be, but I will see you guys later. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting me on Jimmy Dore and Sam Cedar so much, guys. I really appreciate you so much. And thanks for continuing to support on Twitter, because that's what's really the root of all of this. Okay, guys. I'll see you on Twitter, Trendy As Dabbers. Bye, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.